Hey guys, I'm back with another video. This one's a bit of a custom video, but I have some unfortunate news. So obviously from the title, and you probably watching the video, you know this is for custom exhaust. I put a custom Dynomax exhaust on the car. Unfortunately, I did this last year to kind of give you a quick synopsis of what happened. Last year, my Resonator got a giant crack on it. The original Resonator, original exhaust system. Big giant crack right down the whole thing, right across. Didn't hit anything, just opened up. It was getting cold. The cold weather for Canada was starting to come in. It was around October time, September time, October thereabouts. And I was like, all right, I need to get this exhaust done. I fully intended to do a video on all the ins and outs, but because it was a rush thing, truthfully, I forgot. I forgot to do the video, and it wasn't until I was like 70% through, and I was like, oh wait, I forgot to do this. Now the weather is nice. I said, you know what? I can't show you the work, but I'll try and tell you guys what I did to give you some tips on it, I suppose. It's particularly interesting since my Grand Prix is technically a base model Grand Prix, so I only had the single exhaust, and as you can see, I modified it to have dual exhaust. So I'll kind of go through what I had to do, what I did to kind of get this all going. My brother-in-law helped me. He has a welder. He's a welder, so he has a welding machine. So he brought that in, and we did some spot welding on it as well. It wasn't a completely smooth job. There was a couple things we had to do, and I'll go through that with you. That's kind of really why I wanted to do this video and show you. But at the same time too, as you see, it turned out really well. When it's done, I'll start it up and let you hear it. Also at the same time, when that's done, I'll maybe even take it for a quick spin. So let's get started. I'll go through each piece. I'll start off from pretty much the catback. So it's still original catalytic converter, O2 sensor, all that, all the way up to the downpipe going up. All that's original, but this is from the Resonator down to the pipe. I put it comes with a white pipe that you put in when you buy the Dynomax exhaust. It's really intended for the dual exhaust cars, obviously. And I'll show you the piece by piece what I did, what problems we had, and so on. I apologize that it's not the full job, but hopefully I'll at least give you guys some insights if this is what you're planning to do. All right, guys, let's head right on to it. We'll start off with the Resonator piece.
All right, guys, so this is the first part, and truthfully, probably the trickiest part I had, biggest issue I had anyways. So much so that I questioned the piece I got, but really didn't have a lot of time to dispute it. As I said, it was getting cold. I bought it, had everything in, and everything's good to go. Now you can see the difference, obviously. This is a new pipe, a new exhaust. You can still see there's my old, kind of rusty looking cat piece. The downpipe going up to the cat, which is right by the O2 sensor, past the O2 sensor over there. And you can see where I put it in. So this is the original factory piece for this, is what cracked. And I figured, hey, might as well upgrade, right? Now, here's where the problems came in. Now, luckily, welding had played a big part here. This piece, the inlet was fine. As you can see, we put a spot weld right around the edge there. It's a little rusted over, which is expected, normal. But we just spot welded that right on. You could have just clamped it, should have been fine. But the outlet here, although this is all one piece, like this whole thing all came with the car, with the kit, sorry. The outlet was way too big for the white pipe that's going to go here. And that was concerning because there's no adapters, no nothing. So we had no way of really fitting this on. So what we did is we cut and splined it. So you can see the cuts there. The little, obviously, rust has developed around it. But I cut and splined it. We did the spot weld, cut and splined it, clamped it, but we clamped it together first so the splines kind of pinch in, and then we spot welded it. True, we could have actually gone to a like a local parts shop, bought some adapters, put it all together. Time didn't call for it. By the time we got to this kind of part, it was a weekend. Part stores were closed. We didn't really have much choice, and I wanted to get it done. I needed to get it done. It's my everyday car. I have to go to work, right? So this is the option we came up with. Obviously, if you buy this kit and this is the Resonator you get, something tells me it wasn't, because the outlet was way too big compared to the inlet. It doesn't seem right to me, but if it is, then you could just get an adapter if it doesn't come with one, to go from a bigger piece to a smaller piece, and you'll have to cut this pipe a bit to modify it. This was a little bit of a tricky job for us. Also, because this was the original exhaust, the adapter over here was completely rusted over. We had to actually cut it, and as you can see, we put new bolts in and everything, so that's all new. But this was kind of the first step we had, putting this all together. As a tip, what we did is once we put everything in, it was, although it was two of us, it still was tricky. We used a jack. We gently jacked it up, and then used a jack stand to hold it in place. And then we did the spot weld, so that way I wasn't putting myself into any particular danger with the welding and everything. At the same time, it was nice and steady so that my brother-in-law did his welding. So as you can see, it went on very nice. Holds well, it's sealed, there's no exhaust leak out of it, it's good. Let me show you the next piece. So we did have one other issue that came up. Let me show you that now. Okay, continuing onward, so here we have the Resonator you just saw, and we continue on around here. And first thing is this. Now, I think, I've never actually checked on a GT or GTP model, but I think there may be an extra piece here. I'm not sure that that there's a rubber grommet or something that can go onto that to hold it up, an exhaust hanger. But my car, single exhaust, although the pipe follows the same route, doesn't have one. So this one's just kind of sitting here. Where the problem I got, though, was over here. On my original hanger here, you can see that there's the rubber grommet, the rubber hanger. And you can see that piece that's sticking out. Let me just get around here so I can point it to you guys right over here. This piece here had completely rusted out and was hanging off. Something I didn't realize, not having gone on the car very often. And the last time I looked underneath, it was rusted, but it was attached. When we went in to go do it, this was just hanging on the original exhaust, just hanging like this. This piece was just here. Luckily, now, without a welder, if you don't have a welder, there is ways where you could just have drilled through and drilled it on and attach it right onto the frame here. However, using the welding, what we did is we put it on here. We drove one screw in to hold it, and then we welded it around to kind of fix it in place. Once we did that, we put this on, and it holds nice and sturdy. So other than that, though, so far, we're good. Okay, yeah, it's missing a piece here. No big whoop. It's all very sturdy, holds very nice. And then to continue on now, because this is the part now that's different, I'm going to get around to a better angle. So I'm going to go from underneath the car over here. So I'll flip the video around and show you that. All right. Don't mind the little dirt, you know. A little dirt get on there. It actually looks, look at that. Eh? Beautiful. Love these exhausts. Dynomax. I'll tell you that it made a big improvement in the operation, but we'll get to that after. First and foremost, so let's talk a little bit about what came next. Now, my car being a single exhaust, this is the factory pieces all here. You can see there's where the hangers would be. There's the grommets. You can see nice and sturdy, not going anywhere. This is all factory stuff, but I needed one for here. Now, I was left with two options. Find one of these brackets here, which is this right here. Find one of one that belongs from a GT or GTP, or fabricate one myself. And I said, you know what? Makes sense to find one from GT GTP. So I went to various aftermarkets and, of course, a dealer. And lo and behold, this one here, this little bracket right up there, they still make it, still in production, all good. This one here, long discontinued, you can't find it. I searched Canada, I searched the US, can't find one at any GM dealer, can't find one at a part store location. Pep Boys here, Canadian Tire, Part Source, anything. No one has them. So I was left again with the same option. It was looking more and more like a fab job. However, I said, let me check a junkyard. Found one at a junkyard, and this was completely by luck. I was left again with 3 Grand Prix GTs on location. One of them, the bracket was completely rusted. It was junk, falling apart. The other one was bent, no good. Last one, the person rust-proofed their car, and it was in fantastic condition. Fantastic. I couldn't have lucked out anymore. So, only downside though is, one, it was covered all that rust-proofing junk. Not a big deal. But 2 is the bolts, as they go through here into the framework, under there were completely rusted to junk. One of them I got off, no problem. Got one after I put some torque, got some tension on, not tension, leverage. Put some leverage on my ratchet and got it off. One of them wouldn't, so eventually I had to break the bolt. That was the only way. I broke the bolt, got it off, took it home, cleaned it up, and put it on here. Now I have the way to get both mufflers installed. So if you have a dual, obviously you won't have this problem. But if you have a single exhaust, it is entirely 100% possible to do. It just requires some research and some luck. And at the same time, beyond that, beyond luck or anything like that, you may have to fabricate one, because it really was completely luck of the draw that I got this. I mean, looking at the other cars, it's more likely they're going to be rusted or garbage versus being in good condition. It just happened to get a guy who rust-proofed his. Now let's talk about the exhaust a bit. As you can see, I've got these two nice chrome tips. They are excellent, especially when cleaned up. Yeah, they're a little dirty now. I just cleaned my car not too long ago, but you can see, hey, they're going to get exposed to the road elements. You can't help that. Got the two mufflers. You got the wide pipe that came in. And, yeah, and then I think, again, for the GT models, here's another hanger. There may be a hanger here. I'm not sure. I've never looked, so you guys can tell me if you have a GT and you can see it. Mine has a hanger here. I have nothing to hang it to, so I don't know if that's something that's on the GT or GTPs. But yep, that's there. It's just there. Now, honestly, guys, if it wasn't for these two little things that came up there, that piece at the far end right over there that needs to be added on and welded. And then this Resonator issue that showed up that I talked about earlier, I could have got this done an hour and a half, maybe. It was so easy to put together, and even by myself, it would have been fairly easy. Having my brother over there with welding equipment just made it that much easier. But we did, of course, run into some issues where like accurately cutting those splines into the Resonator just to make sure that it could spline correctly, and then putting it together, jacking it, that took a lot of time in itself. Just to make sure we do the job right the first time. I'm always about that. I'd rather take a little longer, get the job right done the first time, versus spending too much time, versus rushing it and then causing issues later on. And then this piece, of course, that took some time in welding and getting it all together. After we bolted this one on, we also put some welds on it too, just to hold it into place. Not necessary, the bolts should be good, but we put the welds because come hella high water, that's never coming off here again. I'm going dual exhaust from now on all the way. So, Dynomax exhaust prices range. Dynomax, it depends on where you go. I've seen them in anywhere from automotive parts, automotive part shops, online stores, in the parts stores directly. I even see it selling on Amazon, funny enough. So, you can buy them. It's pretty easy to get this exhaust. Performance-wise, it's very good. Putting it on, the car breathes a lot better. Drives nicer, has a nicer sound to it. I think I'll give you guys a taste of that just now. Hopefully I'm not sure how well it'll come through on the car, but you'll get the idea. But yeah, I mean, I wish I had more to tell you. It's really simple. I mean, aside from those issues, let's kind of recap it. I want to do that because I feel like I should be telling you more, but it's so much simpler than it seems. It's really, we cut the old bolts off the old down pipe to the Resonator, cut that off, put the Resonator on, did some spot welds, put it all together, cut the splines, clamped it, welded on too, brought this over here, welded that piece on, put that on here, brought it on, clamp, just clamp it on. It's easy, put it on, clamp it, bring it around. Oh yeah, maybe one thing to mention, I knew saying it's good, is because this is pretty firm, it moves, it has some flex, which you want in an exhaust. You don't want to be completely stiff because it's got to move with the, as the car moves. But one thing I had to do is once I put everything together, I had to use a very soft rubber mallet just to bang it because it's pretty sturdy, it's pretty tense. So I had to bring it balanced with these two so the tips don't look off, so they're good. Aside from that, so I did that for this one. This one mounted fine, and then I used this one to kind of balance it. Put this on here, put it all together, put it on your hangers. And that's it. Literally, that's it. Oh, one more thing. Good thing we're talking about this. This is not the original clamps. I did buy these from a parts store afterwards. There's these kind of bigger clamps that go around here that this comes with, which I imagine is probably better because this is going to get, eventually, it's going to start going through kind of the chrome, right? The other clamps, I think, are better suited to the chrome. This is going to eventually start rusting through and it's going to eat away at the chrome, I think. The reason I went with these, though, is because the clamps are not a good quality. What they are is kind of like this bigger, thicker clamp that goes over. It's doesn't go through like how these ones are set up, right? 1 second, sorry. Anyways, doesn't go through the setup. These bolt on. See, the kind of curves over. This clamp goes on and then you clamp it in. No, the other one instead went over and it had a nut on one side and a bolt on the other side and kind of like a piece in the middle. And then what you did is you tightened it. As you tightened it, it was supposed to clamp in. The quality is not very good though. What was happening on both is as you clamp in, it's not creating enough tension to hold this. So these would have, as it warms up, as the exhaust warmed up, it would, first off, when it was cold, it would be fine, nice and sturdy. But as it warmed up, it become very loose as it heated and expanded, and the thing wasn't holding enough. So even if you tightened it more and tighten too much, eventually what would happen is the bolt that was going through, so it's going through this way, straight through, would start bending. So it would start bending the bolt, and then it would snap. It happened to me both times. But really didn't have much choice because every time as it heated up, it would get loose again. Doesn't serve any purpose. So eventually I got fed up and I just went with these. I know what I'm going to eventually have to look into with what's going to happen here. But better it's holding on and I still have it and it's good for now versus encountering it falling off completely later. So that's the only other thing I encountered. Let's take a quick listen.
One more thing. I did find, and I'll play it both. I'm gonna run it here. I'm gonna rev the engine a bit later. How it runs off. But what I also found is that in idle and revving, it doesn't sound quite as nice as it does driving. It sounds good, especially sounds good at just idle, not revving. Just when it's just complete idle, has this nice kind of low level growl. But I find that when you have when you rev it, like I'll rev it just now, and you'll hear it sounds a little thin, a little hollow, which was disheartening at first. I was like, oh, this may not sound as nice as I hoped. But in driving, different story altogether. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
So, not sure how well this is going to come off in the audio side of things. But we'll give it a try. I'm in the car right now driving, obviously. I also don't have a better angle so you can see, because I don't have a camera set up for my car, as I don't normally do videos while driving. So, yeah, you're just going to have to kind of stare at the dash for now. But at least you can listen. So hopefully it comes off. I'll do a couple pulls. The first pull I'm going to do right now is just an easy pull, like on everyday driving, so you can hear it. So this is what it sounds like. It's not bad. It's not, and that's one of the things I like about it. It's not overly loud, especially on light pulls. So if you're doing regular driving, you're not driving it overly aggressively. It doesn't sound. It's not very loud, or not going to set off alarms, nothing like that. So that's kind of a good thing. So I'm going to do a little bit of a more aggressive pull. Let me see if I can get to a good spot where I can do that. Give me a bit. Okay, here we go. Ready?
tire squeal on there. Here, let's go up to a little bit of a higher speed. Give me 1 second. Let's get that going here. Drive through some water. One thing to point out too, if I have the window open, I'm not having the window open now because obviously you'll get is wind noise. But yeah, hopefully that comes out well. You get all wind noise, but outside of the car, especially obviously the exhaust being outside, not inside so much, comes out exceptionally nice. Very, very nice. Sounds really good, crisp. It's not obviously a V8 growl, but it's certainly got a nice little growl to it. Especially as it downshifts of the automatic and stuff like that, as you can hear there. And then an idle just got a nice low-level little rumble. There, we're going to do another pull. So not bad. Again, hopefully this comes off for you guys. I'm not sure if it is or isn't, but and let me know if it is. I need to know that you guys can appreciate the noise. And again, I'm sure the audio doesn't do it justice, but you know, get the feel, you get the idea of what's going on. I definitely recommend the exhaust. The Dynomax, I think, has done exceptionally well for the car. Fit was good, except that resonator issue. And drivability is good. It's smooth. It's not overly loud. It's just loud enough in the car that you can hear and you can like it and appreciate it, but it's not overly loud that it's. If I had someone in here, obviously I'm talking to you guys on the video. It's not like if I was in here and I can't talk, right? You know, I've dealt with some cars, even little four bangers, rice burners stuff, and they have the exhaust so loud. When they're idling, it's fine. As soon as they take off, you can't even hear because it's just so loud and you're not getting the job done, right? So it's got to be comfortable and nice. I mean, if you're building a race car, it's one thing, but this is for everyday use. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully that comes out. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really wish I could have done this and let you guys see it. I know that would have been much more beneficial. And I know seeing something is much better than just hearing me talk about it. It's not as hard as it seems. Having a jack to gently jack it and then have a jack stand does help. If not, 2 people or more, extremely beneficial, but can be done, not as hard as it seems. If you have 2 exhausts already, like a GT or GTP, should be a breeze. If you don't, you have a single exhaust, also very possible, but requires getting that little bracket and everything, or making one yourself. Other than that, though, I hope this guys has helped you guys kind of look into a video into getting an exhaust for your car. And if your one has gone bad, you're looking at options. There is options out there. I think Magnaflow makes one. The V8s have options too. I know the Magnaflow definitely has a V8 one for the 5.3 liter. And I think they make one for 3.8. I don't recall. I know Dynomax is obviously the one I'm using here, and I find they're pretty good. And I know they're not sponsoring me. I'm not getting any money off of it. It's just what I put on the car. I'm letting you know that's what I did. Other than that, don't forget, as usual, like and subscribe. The more I see you guys liking the videos and subscribing, the more videos I'll put out. Also, if you have any questions about the exhaust, about any of the work, as usual, any comments, feedback, don't forget to let me know. And I definitely try to respond as best as I can when I can. Other than that, be watching for the next video. Thank you very much, guys.